Please subscribe the channel and don't forget to click the bell icon.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to Botanica. So in the previous classes we have discussed about the source and sink concept. What are the different types of organs, for example leaves, roots and stem, and in different condition how they behave like a source or as a sink. So now we are turning our attention towards the actual mechanism of translocation, that is how the food molecule which are synthesized in the leaves or in the sources, it is translocated into the sink, and what is the mechanism which is responsible for the translocation of food. So in the previous slides and in the previous lecture we have discussed that there is no, or we cannot say that there is the exclusive role of gravity in the movement of the photosynthesis, but there are other some mechanisms which are responsible for the transport of material. So the mechanism of fluid translocation in the angiosperm is best explained by the pressure flow model. So as far as the movement of solute, or we can say that movement of phloem sap is concerned, it is best explained by the pressure flow model as it was proposed in 1930s. So it is one of the earliest proposed model, but it is valid and it is applied till now. There are certain changes, certain modification which was which was experimentally proved and then added to that particular hypothesis, but that the hypothesis, the actual mechanism which was proposed in 1930, that is the same. So which accounts for most of the experimental and structural data available. So as far as all the experiments which are carried out till now on the phloem exudate, on the transport of the phloem exudates, they suggest that the model of or the movement of solute or movement of phloem sap is occurring, or it is taking place by the process of pressure flow hypothesis. So in early researches on phloem translocation, so as far as when there was a experimental work taking place, that what is the mechanism that is responsible for the phloem transport. So there were two basic concepts. One was that there is the active mechanism, and what is active mechanism? That the movement of solute or movement of phloem sap or photoassimilate is carried out by using the energy or ATP. And there was also a passive mechanism as well, that is it is occurred by the diffusion process. But so in early research experiments, so these both were considered, as there was no proof that either the active or the passive mechanism is responsible. So they are both possibilities were considered. All theories, both active and passive, assume an energy requirement in both source and sinks, but as well as the active and passive movement are concerned, but they have also required that at some level or the other, or at some step or the other, there is a need of energy in both, where the food is loaded or where the food is unloaded, that on the sources and sinks. So in sources, energy is necessary to move photosynthate from producing cells into the sieve element. So as the food is synthesized in the mesophyll cells, for example, we are talking in generally in the for the most of the plant, because there are certain exceptions that when their root store the energy, when it is metabolized, the root is also acting as a source. But generally and normally and usually we talk about the leaves, that they are the actual source of the food. So as photosynthesis is occurring in the mesophyll cells, and from the mesophyll cell the photoassimilate which is synthesized, for example the sugar, they has to be translocated to the companion cell and to the seed tube cell, so that they can be transported to other parts of the plant. As mesophyll cells are not responsible for the translocation, that's why the food which is present and the sugars which are present there, they has to be transferred, they has to be translocated from one cell to another, one tissue to another, we can say that. So in sources, in the leaves, the energy is also required, energy is necessary, so that the food which is synthesized in the mesophyll cell, it should be translocated to the sieve tube element. So it requires some sort of energy, because these are the sugars, these are the large molecules as far as the diffusion gradient is concerned, as far as the movement is concerned, so they cannot move easily. So the energy is required to move them, to translocate them from one cell to another. So this movement of photosynthate is called phloem loading. So remember, the movement of solute, or the movement of food molecules, or we can say that movement of sucrose from source cells, or we can say that from the mesophyll cells to the companion cells to the sieve tube element, it is called as phloem loading. So in sinks, energy is essential for some aspects of movement from sieve elements to sink cells. So when the food is loaded into the sieve tube elements, then after the loading, the food is transported to sink. So when the food reaches to the sink part, or the sink portion, so what will happen? The food will be unloaded. Sucrose, which is present in the sieve tube element, it will be absorbed, it will be extracted from the sieve tube element to the sink cell. So those cells are called the sink cell, and they also require energy to unload the food which is present in the sieve tube element to extract them. So energy is required at both the ends, at the source end as well as at the sink end. So this movement of photosynthate from sieve elements to sink cell, this is called phloem unloading, because the food which is loaded here at the source, it should be unloaded here at the sink. So these two, both phloem loading and phloem unloading, they also require energy as well. So before discussing the actual mechanism of phloem transport, that is the pressure flow hypothesis, first we have to repeat, or we have to recap the concept of pressure potential, or concept of water potential, as this particular pressure flow hypothesis is largely dependent upon the differences in water potential or solute potential across the phloem cells. So here, for example, we have a U-shaped tube which contains the pure water H2O, and you can see at both the sides the water level is the same, on the right side as well as on the left side. So the water is same. This is the midpoint of this U-tube, this U-shaped tube. So this is the pure water. Remember, there is no solute added to it, there is no pressure. So what will happen at the first case on the left side? You can see that when we have added some sort of solute which is shown in red, so what will happen? The water will move from left side towards the right side. And why water is moving from left side to right side? Because whenever the solute is added, and solute will lower the water potential of this particular side, and what will happen? The water which is present at the left side, it will move from left side towards the right side. So remember, this particular is the semi-permeable membrane. It allows only water to move from this particular side to right side. So when solute is added to the right side, it lowers the solute potential and causing water to move to the right side of the tube. So the water will move from left side towards the right side, because the solute has lowered the water potential, or the solute potential of this right side. And in the next case, there is no solute, but there is another factor, that is the pressure. So along with the solute, we can say that the pressure is also responsible for the lowering or increasing the water potential. So for example, if we are putting a positive pressure, applying positive pressure on the left side, it increases the pressure psi WP and causing water to move to the right side, to the opposite side. So when pressure is applied to the left side, the water is moving on the opposite side to the right side, and its level has been increased from, for example, here to, it is now near to the end. So in the third case, there is a negative pressure. For example, what is the negative pressure? That, for example, we are sucking this particular left side, the water is sucked and negative pressure is applied. So that is, it is increasing the water level here to the left side. So applying negative pressure to the left side lowers the pressure potential, causing water to move to the left side of the tube. So remember, positive pressure will, what will do? It will increase the pressure potential and psi p, while negative pressure will reduces the psi P pressure potential, and solute has also a role. Solute will also lowers down the water potential, and water will move from higher water potential to the lower water potential. So remember and recap your mind with the concept of water potential as it is going to be discussed in the next hypothesis. So the most credible and the generally accepted model for phloem translocation is one of the earliest. So as far as this particular model which we are discussing and which is most credible and which is now 100%, or we can say that 90%, that is, it is account for the, it is unanimously accepted that it accounts for the movement of phloem exudates. So originally proposed by the Ernest Munch, and it was proposed in back in 1930s. That is, it is one of the earliest model. It is also considered, but it is quite understandable that after 1930s and mostly and usually after 1980s and 70s, there is a rapid pace in the advancement of different types of field along with the plant physiology. So as the advancement occurred, there are different types of equipment which are made along with the other type of chemical, the methods, the experiments. So that's why the original model is which was proposed by Ernest Munch. It was slightly modified by the experimenter, by the scientist, and the pressure flow hypothesis remains the simplest model. But the major phenomena or the major cause or the major reason which is behind the movement of the transport, it was proposed, major mechanism, it was proposed by Ernest Munch. The pressure flow mechanism is based on the mass transfer of solute from source to sink along a hydrostatic pressure gradient. So what is the mechanism? The mechanism is present, or it is discussed in the simply two lines, that the pressure flow mechanism, it works on the basis of, on the difference of pressure potential. Hydrostatic pressure is applied, and how that hydrostatic pressure is applied on the source side. So there is a difference. So there is, in two lines we can say that there is a difference in hydrostatic pressure at the source and at the sink. The pressure is more at the source and it is low at the sink. So solute will move from higher pressure potential to lower pressure potential to equilibrate these two pressures as well as the water potential, so that it could be so the translocation of solute in the phloem is closely linked to the flow of water in the transpiration. So as we have discussed here about the turgor pressure, about the hydrostatic pressure, as water has also a major role in the transport of phloem exudates. So here, and the water is transported in the xylem tissue and it is not transported in the phloem. So the translocation of solute or the movement of solute in the phloem it is also linked closely, or it also depends on the flow of water which is flowing in the xylem, and continues recirculation of water in the plant. So as far as the phloem transport is concerned, we can say that it is dependent upon the transport of water in the xylem. So diffusion is far too slow. For example, if we talk about that there is not the active transport, or we can say that there is not the pressure potential which is responsible for the movement of solute. So what next? So what is the other way? What is the alternative? That is osmosis or diffusion. But the diffusion, which the rate of the diffusion, it is very slow, and it does not account for the velocity of solute movement observed in the phloem. So as translocation velocities in the phloem, the rate of translocation of the phloem in the phloem tissue, it is average about 1 meter per hour. So that the phloem exudate, or the solute which was formed in the leaf, so after 1 hour it will be transported in the length of 1 meter of the tree. So it will complete the distance of 1 meter in 1 hour. The rate of as when we compare it with the diffusion rate, it is 1 meter per hour in 32 years. So it means that there is a quite large difference, a big difference, and diffusion is not the mechanism which is responsible for the phloem transport. So the pressure flow model states that the flow of solution in the sieve element is driven by an osmotically generated pressure gradient between source and sink. So there is a gradient, there is a difference of pressure potential at the source and at the sink end, and this particular pressure is responsible for the movement of solute, the pressure gradient is established as a consequence of phloem loading at the source and phloem unloading at the sink. So as far as the pressure potential is concerned, so this particular pressure is not present in the plant naturally. It is formed by the plant itself. And how it is formed? That at the source and it is established, and how it is established at the phloem unloading, when the solute molecules which are present in the mesophyll cell, when they are transported, when they are translocated to phloem tissues, companion cells and the sieve elements. So what will happen when solute is added to the cell? It will lower the solute potential of the cell, and when the solute potential of the cell is lowered, water from the other side will move into the cell and it will increases the pressure potential of that cell. And similar is here at the in the side of the sink. And what will happen here, that when the solute move out from the sieve elements, so it will leave the water alone, and water will and the hydrostatic will be pressure will be increased, and it will be transferred to the water will be move out. For example, as we know that equation of water potential we have studied, psi W is equal to psi S plus psi V. So as far as the water potential is concerned, it is the sum of solute potential and pressure potential. But if we are talking about the pressure potential, so pressure potential should be at the left side, and water potential minus solute potential, so that when we are discussing the pressure potential can be obtained by using this particular equation. So in source tissues, what happening? Energy driven phloem loading leads to an accumulation of sugars in the sieve elements, generating a low solute potential. So what will happen whenever there is a accumulation of sugars in the sieve elements? When their sugars are accumulated in the sieve elements from the mesophyll cells, so whenever the solute is added to the cell, it will affect the water potential and the solute potential of the cell, and it will lower the solute potential. So far so good. There was a photosynthate which is moved, which is accumulated in the sieve tube element, and what is the result? That it has lowered the solute potential. Okay, so now in the next we have it cause a steep door in the water potential, steep drop in the water potential, that the water potential is dropped down. In response to the water potential gradient, water enters the sieve elements and causes the turgor pressure to increase. So as the solute is dissolved in the phloem tissues, so what will happen? Water from other sides will enter into the cell, so that it should be so that the pressure potential should be at equilibrium in order to equilibrate with the environment. So for example, here is the diagram. You can see that there are the phloem tissues which are in the vascular supply. Here we have the mesophyll cells which are present here, where the food is synthesized. So now the food which is synthesized here in the mesophyll cell, and the second is also mesophyll cell, there is the bundle sheath cell, and third here we have the phloem parenchyma cell. The food which is synthesized here in the phloem and in the, for example, in the bundle sheath cell and in the mesophyll cell, it is transferred to the phloem. So whenever the food which is synthesized here in the source tissue in the mesophyll cells, and it is transported, the sucrose is transported here into the phloem sieve elements. So what will happen? It will increase, it will lower the pressure solute potential, and as the solute potential is lower down, the water from the xylem will enter here in the sieve tube elements which are present here. So as the water will enter, it will increase the pressure, and due to high pressure, this particular phloem exudate which is present here, due to high pressure, it will move down as it reaches the sink cell. So whenever it reaches the sink cell, the sucrose is unloaded here from the phloem sieve tube elements. So as the sucrose is removed here from the cell, so it will also affect the water pressure potential, and the pressure potential will be low because of the removal of the solute, and again the water will move towards the xylem vessel, and this cycle will be again repeated. So remember, At the receiving end of the translocation pathway, phloem unloading leads to a lower sugar concentration in the sieve element. So as the source at the source and the phloem is sucrose is loaded, while at the sink and at the utilization end the sucrose is removed, so it has opposite effect. By in the loading of the sucrose, it will increase the water pressure potential, while at the unloading end it will decrease the pressure potential, and due to this difference in pressure potential, the movement of phloem exudate is occurring, generating a higher solute potential in the sieve tube elements of the sink tissues as the water potential of the phloem rises above that of the xylem. So by the removal of the sucrose from the sieve tube elements, so what will happen, there will be a more water potential will be more, it will increases from the xylem. As the water potential is increased from the xylem, so the water will move from phloem toward the xylem, and this cycle will be repeated. So water tends to leave the phloem at the sink end in response to the water potential gradient, and causing a decrease in turgor pressure in the sieve elements of the sink. So these are the two opposite processes. At the source end, as the sucrose is added, sucrose is loaded, it will increase, it will lower the solute potential, and water will move into the sieve elements, and due to that pressure difference, water will exudates will move toward the sink end, and when at the sink end, when the sucrose is unloaded, the water will move out of the phloem and it will be moved toward the xylem, and this cycle will be repeated. For example, here we have the complete diagram. So as you can see, there is also written here the values of water potential, pressure and solute potential. So we are starting from here. Here we have the source cell. We have the sucrose is synthesized, the sugar at the source by sucrose. There are the red sphere are the sucrose. So what will happen? These mesophyll cells are the chloroplasts. They are synthesized in a sucrose. This particular sucrose is transported here into the companion cells, which are associated with the sieve tube elements. So what will happen when there is an increased concentration of sucrose here, as well as when it will move to the sieve tube elements, as there is a increased sucrose concentration. So what will happen? It decreases the water potential and solute potential. You can see there is the value of water potential is minus 1.1 megapascal here, while at here in the xylem there is a minus 0.8 megapascal. So here the water potential is great in the xylem, and at the phloem it is low. So water from the xylem will move toward the phloem, and by the movement of water it will increases the pressure here in the sieve tube elements. So active phloem loading into the sieve element decreases the solute potential, water enters, and high turgor pressure result. So due to this high turgor pressure, this particular solute molecule, which you can see there here as the red, so they move by the bulk flow, and when they reach at the sink end, so what will happen? The sucrose which is present here, it is unloaded and it is transported to the sink's end, and it will leave this particular phloem cells or the phloem tissue as a low pressure potential. So active phloem unloading increases the solute potential. So as there is a no solute, so solute potential will be increased. So you can see here we have a minus 0.7, here was the minus 1.7, and here we have the minus 0.7 as it is increased, and here we have minus 0.1. So what will happen? It will move 0.4 to 0.6. So water will move here toward the xylem, and again this particular cycle will be repeated. So as far as this particular concept is concerned, it is related to the pressure flow hypothesis and difference in pressure potential as the movement of solute occurring by the process of differences in the pressure, which is driven by the pressure flow hypothesis.